Welcome to LTP. We're not LTP, but we love talking about it.
We're not. Let's talk petty. You way overthought that one.
I was going to say, we're not P, but then that wasn't going to work. I didn't think this through.
You did not think that one through.
I did not think that through.
What's your name? The one that botched that up so poorly?
Well, I'm Kate.
I'm Andrew, and I did not come up with that intro.
I did, but it was worth it.
I don't know if worth it is the word we're looking for here, but it got great laughs from this side of the table and yours.
It was terrible.
But our episode's not going to be terrible.
No. So this is something that I've heard in the news also.
You've heard things in the news. Wow.
I know. Can you believe it? This is something that is going back to animals again.
Animals.
I like it when animals are petty, apparently.
We've had crows that were petty.
Mm-hmm.
Any others?
I don't remember now.
We were going to train a dog to be petty. But crows are the only ones we've talked about.
And I like it. So, do you remember any sayings about elephants?
They never forget.
They never forget. So I don't know if you've seen this story or not, but it is about a 70-year-old woman in India.
I can honestly say that in my entire life, I've never read a story about or heard about a story about a 70-year-old lady in India. 64-year-old, yes. 70, no.
Okay. Well, it is a little sad. Her name is Maya Murmu. If this isn't a true story, which I've seen.
You didn't vet the story?
Oh, I did. This is in the New York Post. There's many different stories out there that all have the same gist of this entire thing, but...
And you went with the New York Post version.
I don't know. It's the one that was the most coherent, so I went with it. This was also on Twitter. There's a whole
As a
thing on
disclaimer
Twitter.
for everyone listening, the New York Post is owned by Fox News. Take it for what you will.
Why does Fox News often make up stories about elephants?
Yes.
I did not know that.
There was a story in the New York Post about it.
How could they make up stories about elephants? Who do they think they are, those monsters?
Read the article in the Post about it. They talk about how they made them up.
Well, what can we say? We like to make up stories about elephants. All right, so she was down fetching water from a well in eastern Indian state of Odisha on Thursday. And this story is from June 12th of this year, 2022.
Was it by chance a pet elephant named Stampy?
No, it was not. But I knew. I actually was going to write down beforehand different guesses how long I thought it would take for you to bring up Stampy.
Obviously, I'm going to do it in the first minute of a discussion about an elephant.
Of course. All right, so she's down there. She's trying to get her drinking water.
I wish I had an elephant.
When an elephant came barreling toward her, according to the Print India. And this particular elephant is supposedly from the Dalma Wildlife Sanctuary, which is located in a neighboring state. So it travels over, escapes from there, and it tramples this woman who ended up dying from her injuries at a nearby hospital.
It's the worst story we've ever told.
It's very sad that she died. So her family, they get her body. They're going to perform her last rites. But before they could set the funeral, how do you say that word? Pyre?
I don't know. The funeral pyre? Sure.
Pier? Whatever you want to call it. I can't remember. I looked up the word beforehand. I can't remember how to say it. Supposedly, this elephant comes out of nowhere
The same elephant.
The same elephant comes out of nowhere, grabs her body, throws it up in the air, and then runs away.
There's no way this happened.
This is on
No way.
many stories online.
And you vetted this as actually happening.
So there is one article that says, it talks about how they can't figure out if this is a real or not. But each story, like I've gone up in dates and times to see, and each story is they're going along with this whole thing that she comes back. But that's the one I would talk about. It's very weird. It's very funny, but it has set up this whole meme. This whole meme based about these elephants. Like, how petty is this elephant? It just not only kills this poor lady, but comes back and grabs her body. And then when you go farther down, people are like, who told the elephant where the funeral was?
I don't even know what to say about this, other than the fact there's no way in the world this story's true.
It's all over many news outlets.
And how do they know it was the same elephant?
That's what I said.
Wouldn't they have put that elephant down for killing a woman?
Well, I don't know, but somebody said elephants have some of the highest rates of empathy among animals. They grieve and even have funerals. They also never forget. So I need to know exactly what that woman did for an elephant to kill her and then crash the funeral.
I was just thinking, what in the world did this woman do to this elephant?
What in the world?
His whole purpose in life is to kill this woman and torture her after she dies.
I don't know, but this whole meme base that I'm looking at has some hilarious things making fun of this whole thing. But I will say,
and let me just say, there's nothing funny about a woman getting trampled by an elephant.
There is nothing funny.
No one should make fun of that.
No, they're making fun of the fact that this elephant shows up at the funeral.
There's nothing funny about an elephant taking an old lady in its trunk and whipping her across the room or wherever it was.
The room, they're outside. They're about to light her funeral thingy on fire to cremate her.
So there's nothing funny about an elephant with a woman about ready to get cremated, running in, grabbing her by his trunk, reeling his trunk up, grabbing her, starting like a discus thrower, just spinning around, unfurling his trunk and tossing her across the park where they are. Nothing funny about that at all.
I don't know if he did that.
I'm going to put out a press release as an update to this and I'm going to get that started.
Oh, that's what actually happened?
The elephant spun around like a discus in the Olympics.
So here is the other part. So this other news that I read, they were saying that they had a hard time because this was all over Twitter. I mean, people were making comments. That's where all those memes come from. Is all these people being like, how did this elephant find out that she was at this funeral? Like, basically what you're doing. Like, is this real? So they have a disclaimer on there that as of this publication, which was on June 20th, 2022, they could not verify this, that the elderly woman was somewhere between the ages of 60 and 70, was reportedly killed in mid-June by an elephant in the Indian state of Odisha. Maya Murmu was said to have been collecting water. So it's the same name, same area. The elephant was from the same wildlife sanctuary. They did try to contact the government there, and they were waiting for a response as of June 20th. And then they go on to say the same stuff that I just said.
So I was looking at Snopes.
That's what it is. That's what the article is that I'm looking at. They have conflicting reports.
Right.
Yeah.
And the part where I was just looking at that this elephant somehow is getting back at this lady for throwing stones at
yes.
baby elephants because of the poachers.
Yes, I'm on your. Why are you trying to steal my story?
I'm not stealing it. I'm just trying to convince myself that this is real.
I'm not saying that it's a real. This is a disclaimer. So in it, the deceased woman in the report, some claim she's 60, some 68, some 70. Some of the incidents it's on June 11th, some it's on June 9th. So they're having a really, really hard time verifying that this is actually true. And yes, that is part of it. That this lady threw stones at the elephant while poachers took away the elephant's baby, which would be a really good reason for
what
the elephant to come in and take care of this lady and be petty about it.
Poachers are some of the worst people in the world.
They definitely are.
They should not be allowed to exist. People should poach them. But
well, that's what that elephant did to that lady.
What poaching? I don't know if there's poaching companies. I don't know how it all works. They're all terrible people. Mm-hmm. But what poacher is going to be like, hey, you know who we should have on our expedition? A 70-year-old lady.
No, she didn't do that when she was 70.
So the elephant remembers from a long time back.
Elephants remember. That's why the whole story
So the
is
elephant got
elephants
the scent of this woman.
Don't forget.
Recognized it and charged her.
Maybe he finally was like, I'm heading out from this sanctuary and I'm getting that lady who threw stones at me.
Honestly, I would probably have an easier time believing it if this lady was just out in the wild and this elephant all of a sudden got her scent and was like, ooh, this is danger. I've got to attack her. I have a hard time believing this elephant broke out of a sanctuary to attack this woman.
I'm not saying that it left the sanctuary to attack the woman. Maybe it just left the sanctuary because it was sick of somebody there.
There's usually people all over these sanctuaries. How would a person not know that an elephant escaped from the sanctuary?
What? Those sanctuaries are huge.
If I owned a sanctuary, I would have a person at every gate.
How much money does your sanctuary have?
I would have watchtowers every 100 feet so they could be looking out for animals escaping.
Okay, well, you have a lot of money then.
You obviously have a lot of money if you have a sanctuary.
Oh, you do?
Why else would you start a sanctuary?
To be nice to animals?
No, you had to have money to have a sanctuary. So you can afford multiple hundreds of watchtowers all along the border of your sanctuary.
Mm-hmm. You don't rely on people's kindness and government money at all for
also,
sanctuaries.
If this elephant had the babies taken away, how did it end up in the sanctuary? There's a lot of the backstory I'd like to talk to this elephant about.
Ended up in the sanctuary.
Right.
It's funny that you say that because it says nobody can verify the story because if it's true, the woman's dead, so we don't know why, and elephants can't talk.
That pretty much sums up our story. I mean, elephants cannot talk. What more can you say?
But I will say in that area, elephants are known to attack people.
I've heard of that happening in India for sure, where elephants roam.
Yeah, so they do attack people.
I have a hard time believing the story.
I'm not saying I said it was with a disclaimer. I hope it's true. I hope that that lady did something terrible and that elephant got back at her.
I almost could believe it if the follow-up wasn't that this elephant attacked her funeral and attacked her again.
It's
so you're telling me this
stories.
Elephant got out of the sanctuary twice?
No, it never went back to the sanctuary the first time.
So now there's just an elephant roaming around this town that people are obviously looking for because it's missing from the sanctuary, and all this time, it never got caught.
Like the
it's
funeral.
Just hiding out behind houses.
Well, it sounded like they had the
trees.
funeral very quickly after this whole thing happened. They don't. It's not like here where for some reason you have a funeral 90 days later.
How long could an elephant hide out for and not be seen?
Well, you're in a rural area. It's not the elephant. If the elephant was in Jacksonville, yes, it would be found very quickly and wouldn't be able to trash someone's funeral.
It can't be too rural if there's a sanctuary.
What? A sanctuary is a rural area.
Right,
where
but that's the
animals
rural
are.
area where there's nothing built up. Everything can be built up around it. Plus, have you ever been to India? There's like 40 billion people that live there.
There is, but it's still very like a poor area in some of the places.
Apparently not poor enough for an elephant to hide out for a couple of days and not be seen.
I don't know. I'm not saying that.
There could be an elephant in our backyard right now and we wouldn't even know it, according to the story.
All I'm going to say is how many of the stories have we told
that are 100% true, all of them.
Where we have been like, I swear, if you did not know that these were like things that people actually did
true.
Or events that actually happened, we would be like, no way, there's no way.
That's true. I'm still not going to believe it, but it would be amazing if it was true.
In my world, there is a petty elephant who exacted the most extreme revenge. It poached the poacher.
And there's our title.
It poached the poacher.
Well, you can decide for yourself if you want to believe it, if you're on Kate's side or my side. There's no middle ground in this one.
I said I don't necessarily 100% agree with it. That's why I read all of that with the disclaimer in there.
Led to an interesting discussion for a few minutes. It was worth bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly hadn't heard about it.
Yeah, I keep coming across it. So I was like, I got to talk about this.
I got to set a Google News alert for elephant stampedes. Apparently that's big business.
It is big business. It was a whole meme-based thing that came up. That the things on there are so funny. That
I'm locked
you have
out of my meme-based account, so I can't look at them.
But you have to. I'm going to send you the link for this, and you can put it on there because
meme-based account.
It's very funny.
I've never had one.
I didn't know that there was such a thing as having a meme-based account.
Assuming there is.
I don't know.
Let's end this before we talk about more memes.
All right.
Go to our website, letstalkpetty.com. You can find memes, elephant stories. No, you really can't. But you can listen to old episodes. You can buy merchandise. You can find all our social media links. Email us, fax us, message us, leave us.
Fax us?
I was wondering how many episodes it would take for you to notice that I was saying fax us.
I did not notice until
I've said
right
it at least
now.
2 or 3 times.
What about all these poor people that are like, I'm going to send them a fax, and they go on there and they can't?
Well, because the first thing they're saying before that is, I'm going to go buy a fax machine so that I can fax these people.
Well, I mean, maybe they're a little petty, and they're like, I'm going to get a fax.
Joke's on them for going out and buying a fax machine and faxing us.
Do we own stock in faxes now? Okay.
The SEC might be listening.
Anyway.
That's our episode for this week. Come back Tuesday, download our new episode. Come back Friday, download our mini episode. Download them all. Listen to a new episode every day of the week. And please share our podcast with someone that you think will like it.
Tell everybody in the world.
And one elephant. And
Stampy.
We'll talk to you next time.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Please be sure and give our show a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. And be sure to follow and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.